Hey, good evening, friends. Welcome to Speed Gaming 3 as we continue the 2019/20 Link to the Past Randomizer Tournament. I'm Matt Arondak Rick, being joined by the Hammer Bro as we get you ready for game number 2 between Trinexx and Jet. Jet with a 1-0 series lead. What happened in game number 1, Hammer Bro?
I actually, unfortunately, was at work at that point, so I did not get a chance to see it. But I do know that we are doing standard instead for our change of race 2, so it'll be interesting to see what Uncle gives us.
That's correct. We'll talk about that coming up in just a moment. But Jet won game number 1, won it by over 15 minutes, finishing with a 1:11:22. That's fast. That's turbo.
I mean, I would say that it's a Jet seed, but I don't want to get banned.
It's Jet. He's used to it. Now the question is Trinexx going to be required this seed? We don't know. As you mentioned, this is a standard mode. So we've got that little bit of a game here called What Does the Uncle Have? We'll go ahead and start playing that game as soon as this race begins, but we'll tell you that coming into this matchup, Jet beat Shady Force 2-0, and Trinexx outlasted Hitsuen 2-1 to set up this round of 32 match here for the number 13 and 20 seeds. And we are underway. Winner of this match will get Bwayne in the round of 16. So what does the uncle have? Any guesses?
Honestly, I think that even though people are pretty much used to it at this point, I really like seeing bomb strats. It means you don't have to worry about getting them in escape, and it means that you kind of have to get your timing down. What's your favorite standard start to watch?
I like seeing... Well, as a runner, I love seeing the Fire Rod as the opening item, but I also like to see how these runners do with things like the Cane of Burna. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and guess that we're going to get the Cane of Samaria as the item. No, I should have went with Burna. It was the other cane.
You should have stayed with your gut there.
I should have stayed with my preferred.
Went away.
I should stay with my preferred. Now you're going to see these runners here go ahead and kill the guards in this room here, because they're going to get the 2 jars here that will replenish their magic. So magic is going to be very key for both of these runners. How well do they manage their magic here throughout this entire process of escape? They've got to save enough magic to get to the rat in the final real combat room. They're also wanting to get some bombs so they can get to the back items of escape. But how do you do that while managing your magic? And that's what we're going to be seeing between both of these runners as we go through this entire 6-minute sequence of escape.
Yeah, another nice little wrinkle that the Cane of Burna specifically puts in is that a lot of the magic that you use is used upon activating the Cane of Burna. So this isn't a situation where you can get away with like hitting a rat really quick and not using any magic.
Yeah.
This is something where every time you activate it, it's going to cost you.
Yeah, it's going to be a case where you have to make sure that you keep a sliver of... You can't just have a sliver of magic. You got to have a little bit more than just that. As Jet does get a magic refill from one of the blue guards, which is a very nice thing to see here for Jet. That means he now can go ahead and kill a few extra guards, or maybe a few extra ropes. That's the route you're going to see runners like to use more of the magic there, as Trinexx gets that magic jar now to drop. So both of these runners getting the beneficial drops, and it does look like we've got ourselves some boots, so we don't have to worry about the bombs for the remainder of this escape sequence.
Yeah, those boots may have made your 6-minute prediction for escape a little bit on the long side, because these boots are going to let our runners fly through the rest of this sequence.
Now, you still might see these runners opt to go try to kill the ropes coming up to at least get themselves some maybe bombs for Kakariko Village. We'll see, because the ropes, they like to lump together. As we get both of these runners getting the big key almost right next to each other, hey, we don't have to really worry about the Cane of Burna and its magic consumption anymore. We got ourselves a sword in Zelda's cell.
What in the world is this escape?
This escape is very, very helpful to both of these runners. It's not wanting to give these runners an edge.
Speaking of not having an edge, we are basically sitting at dead even for both of our runners at this point. They actually both had a part in the basement where they both hit the guard with one pot, and then both stopped to pick up a big 20, and then went back and hit him with the second part. So we are neck and neck.
Yes, and this is really nice to see as we go through the next room. So it's going to come down to how well can you navigate through these rooms of escape. Having the boots just makes it so sweet as you're going to just be able to push those guards right out of the way. And you're seeing these runners, they're running pretty well without any sort of bonking issues, which just shows their familiarity with this escape. They're going to push, they're going to push, and they're going to push right at the same time. Trinexx just barely the first one into this back portion of escape into the sewers.
Yep, and this is an interesting point. As you said, we'll see if they choose to dash through or instead try to kill a couple snakes.
And both get the 8-drop.
Wow, okay, so we're getting really lucky with item pulls and with drops right now.
So we get ourselves a bloomerang, so we're getting close to vanilla items here, this escape sequence. All we need to do is find that lamp in the back 3 of escape, and we'll have at least enough of a vanilla exit out of here with the bloomerang, the sword, and the lamp.
Yeah, that's a good point. They basically just kind of shuffled everything around. We even got a bonus set of boots and Cane of Burna for our efforts. So yeah, very friendly so far.
Trinexx the first into the back of 3 of escape. Map is still to be seen. We got ourselves the book, 50 rupees, and there's the map right there. So Sanctuary will have the remaining item here as Trinexx goes to the north door. Jet's going to go through the south door. It is going to play out a little bit better for Trinexx as Jet got bounced around by the rat to slow him down.
Yeah, very much so. But they're still sitting at just about a room behind at this point as Jet gets ratted a little bit more.
Yep, that rat was definitely trying to slow him down, and so therefore an under 6-minute escape for both of these runners. And if they did not get any bombs from the ropes, the Sanctuary would have been very, very beneficial to these runners as they now head into the light world. Will we get a map check from either of these runners? They first want to head on over, check the bonk rocks.
Yeah, definitely not a bad idea. I also wouldn't be surprised to see them both check the lumberjack ledge, as even though that's kind of a hit or miss for our runners usually, now that they both do have the boots, wouldn't be surprised to see them both check it.
Well, we're still 2 items away from having full-out access to Agnum at this point in time. We gotta find the lamp, and we've got to find either the cape or another sword. Here is the tree pull for Jet. Oh, it's Red Rupee City. That's nice to see for Jet. Trinexx going in, and we have ourselves a fire rod at the lumberjack. This has very strong inklings of an ag required seed. Now, we can't tell you for sure until we get the map check.
Yeah, but at this point, we would need some very specific pendants to not have to worry about that fire rod.
Flippers in the forest.
Goodness gracious, you just gonna throw something else? Why don't you go check Ped while you're at it? Everything else has been candy.
Oh, we already got the book early, so we could go ahead and check that. We do get 8 bombs from the crab drop here, which is nice to see as well. 50 rupees inside of the tree, so now we can afford the bottle vendor. Not that we had to worry about it with the drops that we've seen so far. So, talking about that fire rod, the only way that that fire rod is not going to get claimed is if we have a case of Skull Woods and Turtle Rock be pendant dungeons.
Yep, we would also need really early access to that lamp.
Jet's gonna have to be careful down to a half of a heart, he should be fine at this point now that he's into the village. As we check the bottom 4, and we get ourselves our first glove. Now to the back. What do we get for the use of a bomb? 100 rupees.
Not bad. That'll make sure that we don't get shafted by our friend the bottle vendor at the very least. That's a nice down payment. Hopefully he'll give us something friendly anyways, but I feel like he's, to a lesser extent than Zora, a bit of a scam artist.
There's our map check. We have 3 crystals in the light world. We end up with a 5-6 crystal at Eastern.
So for our potential non-fire rod seed, everything is lining up thus far as we get the moon pearl in the back of the well. Goodness gracious.
Now, if we get another glove upgrade or the hammer, that will open up Dark World access to both of these runners. And we've seen this earlier in this week in another race where early Dark World access really opened up the floodgates and where they could go. There's another sword upgrade. So now we're just a lamp away from Magnum access.
Yep, we need just a lamp for Aghanim and then just a glove or a hammer, as you mentioned, for Dark World. So we are narrowing things down quickly here.
So this could very well be that Jet seed that you were talking about in game number 1, that Jet won with an 111. Trinexx going to check the sick kid, does not have a bottle. I think this was just an oops where he meant to go south as opposed to north. Going to go ahead and check the tavern. It is 20 rupees. For those of you that are just joining us here via the raid, we are starting off with a standard mode. This is a 7-7 defeat Ganon otherwise. In game number 2 between Trinexx and Jet, and what was in that library?
Just 20 rupees, so we get to skip that for the time being.
Yeah, we're not going to go ahead and bonk into the library for that. However, we are going to go through the race game to pick that up. Now, that's a little annoying considering the fact that we are going through Kakariko Village in this direction.
Yeah, that's a fair point, but boots honestly make it a bit nicer. And the fact that you have now 2 items to speed up your movement at just under or over 11 minutes in, depending on which runner you're talking about. This is something we're all very pleased about.
Oh yeah, it's a good item to see. It's just annoying that you're getting it here in the south after you've done your entire Kakariko checks, as opposed to early where you could have activated the flute instead of walking back through the village.
Yeah, small potatoes, but it's still a slight bit of a gripe. It's kind of an eye roll of why couldn't you have just given me that?
Yeah, exactly. Small potatoes still make French fries.
That's a fair point, and French fries are good no matter their size.
Exactly. And so we get our duck here from the weather vane to come away, and this will help Trinexx make his way to probably location number 7. Yep, let's go down to the swamp. We're going to go ahead and check to see what's in the dam, what's under the water, head on over to Mini Moldorm. And then the question is, where are we going to go next? That Pokey changed colors slightly.
It did. Oh, that's going to mess with me. All right, someone quick give us red mail before this really messes with me.
I mean, Jet looks like it's got red mail, except for he doesn't.
Wrong red item. Oh well. And honestly, at this point, we might see a temporary, at least, skip of Ice Rod Cave and see our runners head towards Desert. With that book there, they can at the very least check the ledge really quick and get Agana's Cave out of the way. Not sure if either of them will do that, but is an option with the items that we have.
Yeah, the only problem with Desert at this point is that they cannot beat the dungeon, but there have been times, more often than not, that we have seen a reason for these runners to go into Desert and maybe double dip that dungeon. We get ourselves the bow, which will open up a decision to make as in regards to Eastern now? Do you go to Eastern?
I mean, I feel like both of our runners are perfectly content to ignore any fire source logic that Eastern throws at them, so I
By
would not be surprised to see them go knock that out sooner rather than later.
by the way, I love the map sprite there for the Pokey that Trinexx has. It's the Quake.
Yeah, I did notice that the second time around. I missed it for the first map check, but then I saw it and I was too busy snickering to make a comment on it before you did.
20 rupees inside of the Ice Rod Cave. Both of these runners are going to get that. You see Trinexx running down the right-hand side of the Ice Rod Cave. Why is that?
So there's this fun little glitch that we do that, in my opinion, is far superior to water walking, although it does require far superior to the fake flippers, although it does require the boots. Right here, you can see Trinexx ignoring any sense of gravity and doing our fun little water walking, which means you get to fly through the water.
Not just water walking, water dashing.
Yes, and it saves so much time. I love seeing it. It's actually a really, really easy glitch to pull off, but it's still just amazing to watch.
Yeah, you've just got to line yourself against that edge, and you can do that in the mini Boldorm Cave. You can do that in the Ice Rod Cave. Those have the largest allowances for you to do that.
So this is a potential part for divergence here because Jet, because of the tree pulls, does have over 500 rupees, where Trinexx does not.
Single arrow rather is on the ledge here at Desert, and you do see Jet, and I am surprised that Jet did not opt to just flute back to 8. But Jet knows what he's doing. Probably figures it would take just as much time to wait for the duck to pick him up. Jet's one of those veteran runners that I don't ever question what he's doing, because I figure he must be doing it better than anything I would ever think of. Hey, the mirror is in the waterfall.
So that's an interesting find that might make Jet slightly less likely to want to do Eastern at this point, because ignoring fire rod / lamp requirements, we are sitting at a hammer away from being able to clear both Pod and Eastern. Now, we don't know if Pod's a crystal or a pendant, but the ability to clear both of those dungeons back to back is something that our runners in general just love doing.
Also does open up the Tower of Hera at this point. We just need to get ourselves a hammer or the hookshot at this point that would open up a lot more access to this mountain. But of course, we don't know if we can logically beat Tower of Hera without the fire source. We know where one of the fire sources are.
That's a good point. The only saving grace we kind of have right now is that we know that the seed won't expect us to get the fire rod until we already have the lamp in hand.
That
so
is correct.
We don't have to worry about that argument back and forth at the very least.
Again, a check coming up here for Trinexx. Jet is heading into the Eastern Palace.
Yep, so never mind what I said about wanting to do Pod and Eastern. Jet has decided that the bow is enough reason to get his tail right on over here.
Well, you do know that of the 7 dungeons in the Dark World, 3 of them are going to be pendants. You could very well have a case here where Palace of Darkness could be one of those. As we get 20 rupees in Agina, we get the big key in the first chest here in Eastern. Don't forget, Eastern is going to be a check for Jet that is not in logic once he gets to the Dark Rooms.
Yeah, that is a good point. All of it is actually going to be locked behind the lamp because that vanilla big key chest is specifically lamp locked, and then Armos itself, because we know the seed's going to expect us to get lamp before getting fire rod. Armos in this instance is going to be locked behind lamp specifically.
Yep. So you see Trinexx is in this cave in the outskirts of the desert, getting some rupees, getting himself up to the 500 that is needed to make the Zora purchase. Trinexx doesn't want to let that skip him by, and it's going to be very beneficial here for Trinexx because it will yield the mirror.
Yep, that is a very good point. Also, on the point of rupees, I did see Jet grab the 2 5s that were near that very first chest in Eastern, which does give Jet 110 rupees, which is enough to get in the pod if needed. Don't know if that was
And
intentional for pod specifically, or if he was just grabbing them just to get some extra rupees. But it was something I saw and thought it was worth to comment on.
it probably was a case where he was doing it to get himself set up for the Palace of Darkness once he does have Dark World access. So 2 of the items here in Eastern is going to be behind the lamp in the logic. One other thing to note, we got ourselves the first bottle, and that bottle is in logic. So Sick Kid could very well have our next piece of progression.
Yeah, that is a good point. And with both our runners having the flute, it is not going to be a long time before they head over there upon getting that first bottle.
And by the way, we are starting to run out of locations. In fact, the only spots that we have not seen from either of these runners so far now come down to the item that's at the Armos, which is out of logic, the 3 items that's the Hashwala, or the items in the Tower of Hera / Spectacle Rock.
Yeah, the paths that our runners have taken are so divergent at this point that even though we're only sitting at about 20 minutes in and we did get a lot of early progression, we've pretty much canvassed everything at this point between the 2 of them. Now, each one of them individually obviously doesn't know that, but as a commentary set and as the watchers of this race, we know that there's not really a whole lot else we're looking at.
And so we have now learned that Thievestown is our green pendant. And for somebody reminding us about the back of Escape, this was a standard seed, so they had to do the entire Escape sequence early on, so therefore that has been taken care of by both of these runners.
Yep, and speaking of checks that have been taken care of, Trinexx just went in there and stole 90 rupees out of the old man's closet as we get another bottle.
Now that
So
one is
we are
interesting.
We're looking at Sick Kid and the Mountain at this point,
Yep.
and that's it.
That's it. Yep, Sick Kid in the Mountain at this point, and one of those is going to have progression.
The interesting check that book gives us is the Ether Tablet, which we can go ahead and grab. We have an early Master Sword, and we have an early book. So that is a check on the Mountain that we can grab that we normally wouldn't be able to at 21 minutes.
Seed likes to give you items for a reason. So therefore, there is probably a strong idea that we could see something on that Ether Tablet this go around. The 2 bottles in this seed definitely do interest me. How the one was behind the dark room and the one was before the dark room. Jet's gonna go ahead and up the mountain because checking Sick Kid is a 1 location spot here, whereas the mountain, you can do the sequence break here to get the old man. You can go into Spectacle Rock. You can get the item on top of Spectacle Rock. You can get whatever's on top of the mountain and maybe get an item in the Tower of Hera.
Yeah, that's a good point. And depending on what's sitting in that basement in the Tower of Hera, you could potentially clear the whole thing.
That is correct. Now, we don't have the hook shot, so Hera Pot is not a potential at this point, as the uncle will reward us with some bombs for freeing him by way of a sequence break. As Jet is going to run his way up to the mountain. He's going to do what is a spin, a dash here.
Yep, both runners making use of spin speed as we saw the
Spin
net
speed,
sitting
that's
on
it.
the top.
There it is.
And the hammer.
Now, the hammer does 2 things here. It opens up the right-hand side of Death Mountain, but it, of course, gives us our Dark World access.
All right, so far that fire rod is continuing to just kind of quietly mock us over in Lumberjack Cave still. It's not going to be specifically needed at this very moment, but it's still sitting there just kind of winking at us.
Yeah, but now we need both the red and blue pennants to be Turtle Rock and Skull Woods. Having the green pennant known to be Thieves Town kind of increases our odds that we do need to get that fire rod out of the lumberjack.
Yeah, that is a good point. It also kind of begs the question of where that lamp is.
Yeah, and by the way, what you're seeing from Trinexx here, we saw that from Jet a little while ago too. Trinexx is gonna have to be careful. He does get up. He does get upstairs. Wow, that was close. Jet's taking a look at the map. We are gonna have to get that fire rod because both Skull Woods and Turtle Rock are crystal dungeons. What was the other pendants?
I saw a mire and a swamp pendant set.
Ew. Swamp? Ew.
The only thing that I think could have made it worse at this point was if it had been Swamp Pod. That would have been two situations where if you get a pendant for one of those dungeons, you're sitting there going, "All right, what's in there?"
All right, so Jet's gonna go into the Tower of Hera at this point. Find the map, so therefore has to go back upstairs. Trinexx finishing off with this Eastern Palace, gonna get his second B in a bottle. And Jet is gonna get the small key. We cannot do this Tower of Hera without the fire source.
All right, so that's not bad. Our hammer still gives us access to a bunch of locations up here. The hope, obviously, being that one of the locations contains the set of Titansmiths, which would give us access to a couple more locations, and that wouldn't be bad.
Well, we do see what the red boomerang is, and neither of these runners are going to go and mirror to get that, as Trinexx gets 3 bombs from the sick kid. Feel better, man. Feel better.
So, 2 bottles in Eastern aside, Sick Kid did not have anything important for us today.
Yep, so therefore the hammer is the lone progression that we needed to see. Now, over here on the right side of the mountain, Jet is in new territory. It gets up a heart container inside that spiral cave.
That is not a bad thing to pick up at this point. Yes, our runners both do have blue mail, but they're sitting at 5 hearts apiece, at least until that heart. So not a bad thing to grab.
100% agree. As Jet now is heading into Paradox Cave, 7 checks inside. These are the last 7. These are the last checks we're going to have on this mountain, unless we get those Titansmiths.
Yeah, and even the mitts would only give us a couple more locations out of the Dark World, unless Jet is a fan of hovering.
Well, it's still going to get you 3 items at this point in time, so you definitely will have that as a potential. We get a piece of heart. We get 20 rupees, another 20 rupees, so 40 rupees and a piece of heart. 60 rupees, 80 rupees. We're rolling in the dough now, everybody.
I don't know that I'd call 80 rupees rolling in the dough, but there were definitely a lot of rupees. That's a lot of red rupees in there.
Well, considering the fact that you only need 110 to pay off Kiki and those debts, 110 is a lot. Now, Jet, where are you going? You're gonna go to Aghanim in the dark?
I think Jet's just gonna make the fire rod play.
You crazy man, you. I love it.
This is a scary set of dark rooms. Okay, so Trinexx tried the bomb jump there and elected to just save and quit upon missing it. Okay, so they are going to stay on the mountain for now. I wasn't sure.
Well, let's see first. Okay, yes they are. Because the other question is that they could easily go to the flute coming out of the old man, just using this as a life fill-up before fluting somewhere else. So Jet's gonna go into the dark, and we'll see you later, Jet. Have fun.
Yeah, pretty much. It's going to be one of those situations where, if all goes well, we'll see Jet come out in about 2.5 minutes.
Oh, a lot sooner than that, you know. And this is one of those cases where if you are familiar with these rooms, this is not going to be as much of a problem. And Jet is doing a pretty good job going through these rooms as it is. So definitely kudos to Jet, who right now has at least escaped the maze room, or is about to escape the maze room. Yeah, he's still trying to get his way over. And there he goes. He's got the key door opened up, and now he moves on to the next room. Now, the room not next, but the room after that, that's the challenging room of this dark session, because you got the open pits, and you've got the guards coming after you, and you don't really know where those guards can be, so you could really lose control real fast. Looks like Jet's doing a pretty good job coming through these rooms. He's got one more guard, I think, to have to worry about. Yep.
Wait. You can... What?
Yeah,
Okay.
he realized he doesn't have the hook shot.
I was gonna say, there might be some strats I'm unfamiliar with here.
Yeah, he was setting up for Hera Pop, but did not realize that he's missing something that goes boing, boing, boing. Let's get a GG's there for Jeff for getting through those dark rooms. He's now on the 5th floor.
Yeah, that was absurd. I know you said there was a difficult part to those dark rooms, but watching Jet screen, I'm not sure I fully believe you.
Yeah, that next to last dark room is really the worst room of them all. I have not done those. I get terrified thinking about doing those rooms. Jet made it look easy. You know, he just kept going for the guards, got them all under control, and just moved on to the final room. So now that Jet is making his way to Aghanim, we do get to guess the blue balls that Jet will see come from our wizard friend. I'm going to pick 4. Our tracker, Oro, is going to guess 3. What about you?
I think you guys are being a little meaner than average, so I'm gonna go ahead and take the multiplicative of yours and say 12.
I'm going to tell our 2 runners that if that does turn out to be 12, that it's your fault, Hammer Bro.
Hey, blue balls are like everything else. They're cheaper by the dozen, okay? Just trying to get them a good deal on it. Although it looks like my 12 is not going to be.
No comment. It's not like getting a dozen donuts. By the way, we had no blue balls so far in the first 4.
It's a commentator's blessing, right? That's how that works?
And we're going to get 5. Is this going to be the perfect dagger? We got the perfect dagger!
Wow, that was really nice. Alrighty, cool. I guess it's the least the seed could do, with it being required for a silly reason such as fire rod sitting on the lumberjack ledge.
So now we have the bombs and Jet. Yeah, that's not a place to mirror. Meanwhile, Trinexx is heading into the dark world and is going to go see where the hype is in this seed.
I'm not quite sure that you want to go ahead and call it Hype Cave. History has not been kind to that set of locations, but I guess we'll see. Jet is going to get his 3 bombs from Sick Kid, and we will see what's over here in the Cave of Disappointment.
Cave?
I said
That's
cave,
not really
not Cave of Disappointment.
Half magic's not really disappointing. 300 rupees is nice. Okay, so it's about a 2. That cape may have value. We don't know. Half magic is definitely nice though, as Jet is about to pick up the fire rod, and I'm going to guess a lot of this has to do with how Jet wants to take this dark world passage. Seems like Jet is kind of centering around Skull Woods, and I think it has to do with that little star that's on the tracker next to Skull Woods, the fact that it's part of the 5-6 combo.
Yeah, it most definitely does seem like Jet is going to be heading straight from the Village of Outcasts area and going to do, at the very least, a clear of Skull Woods. I would not be surprised to see at least a dip of, well, never mind, just
Well, we're
making
not
it
going
a
to get
liar,
that just
Jet, go into
yet.
pod.
Well, here's the other thing. You know what the Fire Rod does with the Palace of Darkness?
Yeah, it makes Turtle Room not terrible.
Bingo! So I think that might be the other motive here for Jet, is you've got to deal with the Turtle Room coming up in just a few moments. And that is not a fun room to do with 7 hearts and Master Sword. Maybe at this point you're trying to make life a whole lot easier on yourself.
That's a good point. It's also a way to kind of look at the seed, because if you've gotten to the situation where you have the Fire Rod, you have it knocked out, Aghanim's done, then you can just pull it off your list and then play this like a regular 7 Crystal Seed.
Well, let's see how this goes here for Jet as he heads on downstairs. As Trinexx pulled up 20 rupees out of the digging game, so now he's gonna flute to 5, as Jet gets a small key for his efforts.
Yep, so it looks like Jet might have a pokey-sized shadow here in pod in just a minute or two, as Trinexx is going to be grabbing his favorite little extortionist monkey and dipping into the dungeon himself.
All you have to do is pay the monkey 110 rupees. The monkey's got kids to feed!
I didn't know that the monkey raised goats. But ignoring terrible jokes aside here, Jet has decided to go straight for the Bowlock side, and he's going to end up with that Quake medallion.
Ignoring jokes is why I had absolutely no comment for that.
I'm used to it, hence me just continuing on with the commentary.
Game 2, Jet versus Trinexx. Wayne waiting for the winner of this round of 32 pairing. And that's going to be an exciting match for whoever goes on to face off against Blaine, but we got some business to take care of here. We have seen one non-key item here in the first, and that's the second, so everything else is going to be keys in this first 4 section. Or this front half section, rather.
Yep, and then we get to the fun parts in the back of Pod, which Jet is going to be heading to as we speak. Then we get to see if Pod is actually holding anything useful for us.
Well, the Quake could be useful. We don't know.
That's a fair point.
Obviously, we have to wait until we get into the Turtle Rock area, but we definitely need a little help getting there. Titan's Mitts would help. As Jet, without the big key, he's not going to do a hammer jump there. Why would you? There's another small key, and now we head on downstairs.
Knowing V31, this could just as easily be Quake for the Mire medallion, and then like Cane of Samaria sitting somewhere in Mire.
This seat is a butt if it does that.
I mean, it started off nicely. You didn't expect it to continue that way, did you?
You are right. We have now found 4 of our items inside of this Palace of Darkness.
Yep, as we come to another lamp-locked room, but this one's a bit easier to navigate. Komodo dragons aside.
Yeah, this is one of those kind of dark rooms where the more practice you have with it, you can start to figure out where everything is going to be, and you don't really have to worry a whole lot about the enemies that inhabit here. As we get, that is going to be item number 5. Jet doesn't even need to check the big chest because we now know with the compass and map outstanding that one of them is in the big chest, the other one is going to be on Helmisar. So the Quake is the only item of potential urgence here in this Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, that is interesting. Usually Pod holds a little more for us than that. At least a little more to speculate about at the very least. That Quake is going to be an argument at least until we go up the mountain with our mitts to take a look and see what's required for Turtle Rock. But everything else is pretty useless in here.
All right, let's go ahead and see how Jet does with the Beetle Room. We know that Jet's got some skills. We've seen it throughout many a tournament. Jet is one of those runners that you've seen since the beginning, the first tournament 3 years ago, 2017 now.
And for those who are asking about the flags for this particular tournament, how it works is that game one for each and every set is going to be regular old settings. Open mode, randomized, swords, no shuffle of any sort for key sanity or maps and compasses, 7-7, defeat Ganon, everything we're used to. At that point, the loser of the first seed gets to make a change or choose not to change anything, as Jet just flies through this turtle room.
I was gonna interrupt you to talk about that room of magic there for Jet. What difficulty was he gonna have in that room without the lamp? I don't know.
I mean, it certainly seemed like the answer to the what difficulty was he going to have was none, thank you. Shall we move on? Goodness gracious. But yes, as I was saying, the loser of game one gets to make a change or choose not to for game two. And then the loser of game two, should there be a game three, gets to make a change off of that for game three. So you could have a game three that has two different changes. You could also have a game three that goes from having one change and having that change undone, or both runners just choosing to not make changes to the seats.
Nice, almost our fight for Jet. Finishes off, picks up the map, so the compass was in the big chest, gets his crystal. Palace of Darkness and Eastern down for Jet. Trinexx right behind him. We'll see how he does with the Beetle Room coming up in just a moment. He does not have the Fire Rod, so we'll see how Trinexx does in just a few moments. And you know, this race is going to still be close until we get something that will really define the moment here for both of these runners. I don't know what that moment's going to be at this point. Jet heading over towards the desert. He seems like...
Yeah, difference here being that the desert is full clearable right now for Jet with that fire rod.
Seems like he wants to finish this thing off.
Speaking of dungeons that are full clearable, he could go ahead and take out Hera too, if they so chose. I feel like you probably don't want to go up there until you at least have access to Turtle Rock, if nothing else, but it's on the table, as is Skull Woods, or if you're feeling a little more gutsy, Thieves Town.
Let's just pause on that thought right now, as Trinexx is doing what was a very dangerous room here in the Beetle Room. Got through it, used up the good bee in order to help himself through here, but 1.5 hearts coming up, and he's still gonna get through these beetles real fast. Gotta make sure he doesn't get bunked around by them, down to a heart. So this is going to be a scary fight for Trinexx.
Yeah, that last hit there is really unfortunate because Helmasaur does a heart of damage on Blue Males. If Trinexx had maintained that half heart, then they could have taken a hit here, and now they cannot. So the name of the game is be careful.
Yeah, and it does not help the fact that Trinexx is getting peppered with the fireballs right now. And you notice Trinexx is trying to despawn the fireball right there, and he runs right into him!
That is really unfortunate. Now that's... If Trinexx could choose to just go ahead and leave this dungeon alone at this point, which he does. We're not going to be short an item because of that, but Trinexx is going to have to come back here later to complete it.
If I'm Trinexx right now, I'm heading to the Village of Outcasts, seeing what's over in that area, trying to figure out where this lamp could be. Or maybe we'll just go ahead and have another Dark Aga.
That does seem to be the solution here for Trinexx, which is interesting. It's definitely not the solution that I would take. These guys are way better than I am, so there's a reason I'm sitting here talking.
So Trinexx heading into the Aga. We'll see how well Trinexx does against the Dark Aga. Once again, the third and fourth floors are the concerns with the Dark Aga, as Jet is about to face off against the Lamb Mola. Now, how many items did we see in Desert?
I believe we only saw one, which means we're going to get another one here.
Okay.
But don't quote me. I was a bit more concerned about the Helmasaur fight, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Beautiful there for Jet, getting him down 6 fire rod shots to get the piece of heart, which answers that question, picks up the crystal. And so now Jet with a 3-1 crystal lead in game number 2 of this series. Trinexx getting through the maze.
And this is definitely a situation for Trinexx where if there's a death here, this is going to be really, really bad.
Yeah, I'm more concerned right now that Trinexx is getting himself lost in this maze.
Yeah, I don't know this maze very well, but Trinexx seemed... Okay, there we go. Seemed to just kind of be going up and down for a bit there.
I think he's getting it, but the problem is that he's got a guard that's chasing after him right now. So that's not helping matters right now either. I think he's slowly getting there, but again, the problem is that the guards are not helping him out. Oh, he actually took a look at the map. That was actually a decent move here by Trinexx, just to see where exactly in the room he was.
Yeah, these guards are staying just close enough to be really annoying, and just far enough away to stay out of most of these spins that are being done here.
Yep. I would have to assume at this point in time that Trinexx has defeated all of the guards, but he's going to give up. He has had enough of this maze, and he is going to go ahead and surrender, as that's unfortunate here for Trinexx. It's time that he will be surrendering to Jet, who is making his way to Skull Woods. So we do know that the lamp has got to be somewhere here in the Dark World, and my suspicions right now is that it's in an early part of this northwestern Dark World.
That's not a bad idea. It would be rather humorous to see it somewhere ridiculous like Left Side Swamp, in which case we might very well just not see it. But you are probably correct.
That's right, we do have access to that first section of swamp.
I'm sorry that I said it out loud. I probably shouldn't have.
That's disgusting.
Disgusting. It could also be sitting on Bumper Ledge, actually. We also do have access to that.
It could be right there in the chess game.
It could be.
Alright, so now that we've repaired all of the logic, Trinexx is going, why couldn't I have had this earlier when I was going through the Dark World?
Yeah, that's definitely one of those situations where you're like, oh, why did I have to try and bite off more than I could chew? It was right there.
And part of this could also be because Trinexx knows who he is up against. Jet is a runner that we've seen go deep into many of these Link to the Past randomizer tournaments, so therefore he knows exactly what Jet is capable of, and as a result, you might see him take a few extra risks, like maybe what we saw with him doing the Palace of Darkness, what we saw him do in the Dark Aga attempt, as Jet's facing off against Mothula.
That is a good point, especially in a 1v1 setting. Your reputation very much precedes you. If you're good, people are going to give you respect.
Oh.
As we see the mitts
Yep,
in Thieves Town.
Independent Thieves Town.
Yeah, that is an interesting spot for those. I'm fairly certain that it being the front four, Jet is going to make a check of it. But if Jet decides not to, that could get really interesting because there's going to be a lot of stuff locked behind that.
Yes and no. Like, yes, he's going to miss out on some things, but it's time spent's the kind of item that you're forced into having to get to at some point in a run.
Yes, because of the amount of things that it does lock, and not just those last 3 dungeons. It also unlocking Smith Chain here and a couple of other small locations. There's you're definitely going to get here sooner or later, but this could be a situation where Trinexx can take advantage of the logic if there's something hiding behind it.
But could this be a pedestal seed? Jet's going to go ahead and
Sure.
check the inscription, and it's going to be maximum health increased, which tells us that we are not going to see all 3 pendant dungeons defeated with the purpose of claiming the goal there.
Yeah, 3 extra pendant dungeons for a full heart. Not going to be worth it for anyone, I don't think.
We do know that a pendant dungeon is going to be required for at least diving into. That is because Trinexx found the mitts inside a pendant Thieves Town.
Yep, now the interesting point in the logic will be seeing if mitts lock any direct progression here very soon.
Trinexx is going to have to be careful as he makes his way through this world with this purple chest. In the sense that 1/2 of a heart is really not a good time when you're in the dark world.
Yeah, blue mail's not going to save you here, especially not in the dark world. Everything's going to take that half heart off of you with relative ease.
Jet's still searching out for that second item here in Skull Woods, and there it is, a heart container, and a hook shot is on Bumper Ledge!
That's interesting.
Oh! But Trinexx at least knows that it's there.
That's a good point. And with Jet routing this way, Jet is going to see that hook shot, but not know where the cape is, and not get that cape until Hype Cave.
Yeah, it's just going to be an annoying walk back here for Jet more than anything else. But it's good to know where the hook shot's going to be. We don't know if we're going to need it for Swamp, but it's still a possibility that it is going to be needed. Maybe for Hookshot Cave. We don't know. We're still lacking an Ice Rod. We're still lacking a Cane and some Maria. And there's still 2 medallions that are still to be found. And Trinexx now with the lamp in hand is going to go face off against Aghanim.
Yep, this is going to be Dark Room Revenge Part Number 1. Part 2 will likely follow shortly thereafter.
So checking King's Tomb, and Trinexx is staring down the door frame at this time. And
Yeah,
if I'm Jet, the next stop for me is going to be Nevermind. Oh, we're just taking the... Oh, never mind. I thought we were heading to Catfish. No, we're not.
Yeah, it seems like Jet hears Thieves Town calling, which is going to be a good thing, because those are the mitts that you hear, my friend.
Do mitts make a sound?
Yeah, they make a squishy little sound when you put them on.
That would make sense.
Kind of a...
I'm guessing the people who are running in that challenge at AGDQ know exactly how mitts feel and what sounds mitts make. But those were oven mitts. Jet's about to get the Titan's mitt. The question is just, does Jet stay in here?
That's always the question to ask when you have something like Pendant Thieves Town. Ugh. As a runner, Pendant Thieves Town's enough to make me wish it was all dungeons, to be perfectly honest with you. Let's just go ahead and full clear it and get out of the way.
Shoutouts to Trinexx and how he performed inside of that room right there. Got hit by a couple of slight swipes of a guard. Jet is going to do the first 4 and leave technique here inside of Thieves Town, as Trinexx now sets himself up for this Aghanim fight, which, as we know from seeing it on Jet's side earlier, is going to be the best Aghanim fight you're ever going to have.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a situation where, yeah, we made you climb the tower and we wasted your time, but at least we didn't take any more of your time that is strictly speaking required for this tower.
And so Jet's going to go and do the racing game at this point. That will be for the 20 rupees as Trinexx faces off against Aghanim, as we remind you that this is game number 2 of the best of 3 series. Jet won game number 1. Trinexx opted to go with the standard mode for game number 2. And therefore we got to deal with a Cane of Burnastar, which really turned out not to be much of a Cane of Burnastar once we got to Zelda's cell.
Yeah, pretty much. Standard was basically just a pretend slang for loaded escape, please and thank you, because we ended up getting a sword out of there and the boots. So yeah, no, it was just pretty friendly all around, honestly.
And so now Trinexx is going to mirror and make his way, I would have to assume, to claim the Fire Rod.
Yep, it is really smart that Trinexx is heading into the Dark World here, because we're going to see that bumper ledge check for the hook shot in the same fell swoop. Meanwhile, with Jet already having gone through the north side of the Dark World here, we may get a south side set of checks. With the flute, it's probably more likely that Jet is just going to go ahead and flute straight over to Gary. But we might see this chest left behind, and then see a quick check of at least Stumpy. But no, it looks like he's just going to walk it.
Trinexx about to pick up the hook shot, and so Jet with the mirror in hand, and I'm wondering if the idea is Jet wants to check not only K45 here, but in the end also wants to check the Bombos tablet.
That's a good point. And right here, since we're not going to be mirroring into the light world for anything else, Jet could actually choose to leave this chest behind. There's a relatively new glitch that we found out that basically states that if you leave the chest somewhere in the Dark World and you make sure that you mirror very near our favorite little lockpick, that you will actually get the prize for it, regardless of whether or not that chest is still with you. It's another one of those situations where Zelda does not necessarily like checking things in a very, very quick fashion. So you get to fool it.
Here is the scan into the light world. There's the pickup of the red rupee. And now Jet's going to be able to check this tablet first, see what we have on the Bombo's tablet. Is it going to be something required? Once again, we're still seeking a couple of key items that we know of. Those 10 arrows, however, they are not required.
Yeah, but speaking of key items, or at least key items via proxy, Jet is just about 30 seconds away here from getting the cape, which is going to be required for our hookshot.
That is correct. So getting the hookshot is going to be good, at least that you don't have to worry about its placement. And again, we don't know if the hookshot would technically be required if you are somebody who could hover pretty well. So Jet about to get the cape right there, also going to get the half magic. And now with the timesmith and with the hookshot, you know what's starting to become a little more appealing?
Well, you can do Mire area if you're so concerned, but I feel like what you're talking about specifically is Ice Palace.
Absolutely not.
Oh, well, that's no fun then.
And I had actually forgotten that Jet does have both crystals here for the pyramid bomb with everything that's been going on of late. So this is going to be easier for Jet because we've already beat Agnum, so we can just mirror here in front of the castle and just go through the portal. I was actually talking going back up to the mountain to go through Hera, then over to Hookshot Cave, and then finding out what we need for Turtle Rock.
Yeah, that definitely wouldn't be a bad play, because it would give us a definitive answer to, is this going to be a Cane of Samaria and Ice Rod find, as Trinexx already got Wall Mastered once here, and it seems like the Gibdo is just kind of breakdancing by the statue.
Yeah, he didn't have the right setup here. We get 10 arrows and a heart container from the Pyramid Fairy, so the pyramid was not required in this case. Jab pulling out his flute. Where is he going to flute to? He's going to flute to 3, and I believe this is now the pickup of the hookshot.
Yep, might as well. You know where it is. You can get rid of that note that you made either mentally or physically somewhere. Pick it up, be done with it.
And so there's another thing that the items are leading me to believe might contain something of importance. We've got the half magic. We got Cane of Burna to begin this seed, and we also got the magic cape. So my senses are telling me there could be something that we want to find in the Spike Cave up on the mountain.
That's not a bad location. At this point, there's a heck of a reason to head up to that mountain, as you were saying, between our Turtle Rock information that we would get and all of the locations that we would now be able to check. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that check sooner rather than later.
So there's the hookshot pickup for Jet going to flute to the light world and pull out the flute. And if he flutes to 1, this is a mountain check for Jet.
So this actually isn't a bad play, because if you look at it crystal wise, you have 1 crystal sitting out here that's not on the mountain, and then 2 that are. So if everything goes really, really well, we could get a clear here of Ice Palace, and then have everything else that we require just sitting on the mountain. Get both those crystals out of the way, take out GT, and be done with it.
You know, that's an interesting routing that I had not even thought about. And it makes sense.
It's honestly really one of those risky pulls, because on one side you have a huge swath of items that you'd be able to check on that mountain between the rest of Hera, Dark World, Death Mountain, Spike Cave, as you were talking about. But then on the other side, you have the potential to be able to just go up there one more time and be done completely. So there's one part that's pulling you towards it and one part that's pulling you away. And a lot of the fun as a runner is trying to figure out which one you're going to go with and then hopefully be correct.
And this is why Jet is the kind of runner that he is. Definitely knows how to play this game, how to route this game. We've seen him do some rather low percent execution in the past. We've seen him do some clever routing in the past as well. Now, I can tell you one thing that we know for certain here, Hammer Bro. He's not going to get a 111 this seed.
Not without doing some fun and slightly not allowed strats.
Yeah, there would probably be a nice internal discussion if Jet decided to pull some of that stuff. But Jet's not going to pull this kind of stuff. He wants to play this game seriously, and he wants to win. By the way, that was the same card that we found in Skull.
Yeah, I don't think it's something that we knew with the first pickup there, because I believe Jet had full health. But
Yeah.
Trinexx not having full health does give that away.
So, Trinexx heading to the light world is pulling out the flute. And so, Trinexx is fluting to 6. And here's something that Jet was unable to do when he came back to defeat Desert Palace. He's going to be able to check Meyer's Shed as well as Checkerboard. We also get the medallion check here for Misery Meyer. And you're making some noise.
Yes, I'm making some noise because I didn't want to see that. I don't want to see Quake and Meyer. I don't want to see the Cane of Samaria sitting in Meyer again.
Again, you say?
I've just seen it a lot this tournament, and I've grown fondly tired of it. We'll go with that set of words.
So far, nothing.
Yeah, as these checks dwindle down, I'm becoming more and more paranoid about it.
Well, here's the thing for Trinexx. I think for Trinexx, you want to see Cane of Samaria in Meyer.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Because from Trinexx's side, you lost a bunch of time. You know it. Here, what you need is for this seed to be terrible, and for you to guess what kind of terrible the seed's going to be correctly. That's what's going to give you a huge advantage against Jet.
Yeah, and that's 100% at this point. And Trinexx knows that he is behind. Taking the death that he took inside of the Palace of Darkness to the Helmsar King is putting him in this position. Plus having the unfortunate issues that he did trying to do Dark Aga before having to surrender in the maze room. As Jet pulls up the shovel, and that could get a little interesting.
Do you want to do a fetch quest?
Oh, hell no!
Me neither. But guess what, buddy? We're probably gonna.
Bombos!
Oh, Trinexx almost pulled that off, even with the accidental poke. Don't do. Oh, come on. That was just mean.
Thankfully, he does get him taken care of with the fire rod to finish him off. Unfortunately, a 3 cycle as Jet goes up against Cold Stare. Now, looking at that 0 key count, this is going to lead me to believe that we're going to see a Cane of Samaria from Cold Stare. But I don't know for certain.
You mean a key from Cold Stare, which would allow...
That's what I mean.
Would, okay, imply that Cold Stare is Cane of Samaria locked.
And there's the key right there, which means the Ice Palace was Cane of Samaria blocked. As Trinexx with the mirror, which I think was an accident here. I think he meant to have the Quake, but was one down just unfortunately.
Yeah, this is a situation where small mistakes and big mistakes may have slightly put Trinexx into a tilted state.
I don't think it was that much of a mistake there. It was just an accidental mistake that he had that up, as opposed to sometimes your controller does things that you don't want your controller to do. I mean, we all have had those cases where the controller has a mind of its own. Pretty decent lobby room here. Heart
And
container
that
for the
fetch
shovel.
quest, yeah, that fetch quest not quite paying off for us.
But again, Trinexx needs something here. He needs Jet not to see the Cane of Samaria or the Ice Rod up here on the mountain.
Yeah, basically, we need this in order for this to be a race. We need to be looking for the entirety of the mountain withholding something from Jet, be it Cane of Samaria, Ice Rod, or both. We need this to be a situation where Trinexx guesses correctly and Jet does not. In order for this to end up being a close game, if that does not happen, then this is going to be Jet's race to win.
Absolutely. And the winner of this best of 3 will go on to face Wayne in the round of 16. Jet going through with the Super Bunny Cave. 6 checks up here in the mountains, 7 if you want to include Spike. There's the silver arrows.
And you can definitely put that check on the list of items that we're not going to say no to, but weren't specifically looking for.
Yeah, that's something that Trinexx will get at some point in time. It's just not right at this point. We find 300 rupees as one of the first items here. Bombos was required for Turtle Rock, so there was a required item in Ice Palace.
And with that, we know we're not going to need ether for anything at all. So at this point, we were looking at Cane of Samaria and Ice Rod, and that is it.
There's one of them.
Alrighty, so that is actually the nice one to find because... Oh, that's...
That's 2. That's the second item. Trinexx is out. 300 rupees in a heart container in Misery Mire. Trinexx at this point, if I'm to be honest, needs something in Swamp Palace. Flutes to 4. Here's the swamp play.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what we're going to see. At this point, and honestly, the good thing about playing 1v1 is if you do end up making a mistake like this, you can automatically go into the mode of what do I need to happen to win this race? And then just completely and totally play off of that.
Absolutely. So Jet's here in the Tower of Hera. For those who are hoping for a Game 3, for those fans of Trinexx, you do not want to see the Cane of Samaria in this dungeon. You do not want to see it in Spike Cave.
To be perfectly honest with you, you wanted to see the Cane of Samaria sitting in that hookshot cave there, and you wanted to see Jet run all the way through Turtle Rock for absolutely no reason with no Ice Rod. That's what you wanted to see. With the Cane of Samaria being our go mode, for Jet, we are not going to see a double dip of Turtle Rock unless something goes terribly wrong.
Yeah, but you also do want to see it deep inside of this Swamp Palace. You want to see it left side swamp. You want to see it in a spot that Jet's not going to touch immediately. Like, Mire would have been the best case scenario because you're going to choose 6 over 2 anytime.
Yeah, most
Three
definitely.
bombs.
At that point, Jet would be more likely to choose completing Thieves Town over going into Mire.
Jack commenting that Jet could have Herapotted. The thought here is you've already seen the map. You don't want to take the risk here that the big chest is going to have something. There's the compass, so big chest does have something. It's the mushroom.
Do I need to sing it again, or is your response
please,
still the
no.
same as it was?
We definitely don't need a fetch quest here, but Jet is hoping that fetch quest can lead him to the Cane of Samaria. So that right there is the exact reason why Jet did not hear a pop. Because you don't get that big key, you don't get that mushroom. If mushroom leads to the Cane of Samaria, then that would give Trinexx another out here.
Yeah, this is a situation where if you're just looking for one item, you're going to check every darn thing along the way, because at this point the game becomes, don't make this seed longer than it has to be.
You don't want to orphan something at this point in time. You're going to play a little defensively, and that's perfectly fine. We got ourselves the map. 3 bombs. Those are the first 2 items here inside of this Swamp Palace. And you notice what Trinexx is doing. He is going to the left-hand side.
Yep, at this point you are playing the game of, I need to clear swamp for an item to find. Trinexx is not clearing swamp for any sort of use. We know that Pedestal is dead, and swamp being a non-green pendant means we're not going to get anything from clearing Argus beyond the single item that they drop. So this is a situation where we're just going to go ahead and full clear this dungeon.
10 arrows in Spike Cave. So the answer to that was no.
But on the flip side for Jet now, everything in the mountain is cleared. Don't have to worry about it anymore.
Here is the mushroom check for Jet, as Trinexx is about to check left side swamp. And the mushroom leads to a piece of heart.
So at this point, I feel like we are once again running out of locations.
And Jet is going towards the Mire area first. This is surprising. I would have sworn that he would have chose the 6/2. But also don't forget, we got another item inside of Thieves Town, plus the green pendant.
This also might not be a 6/2 choice. This could very well just be, because this is 5/2 at this point, because we do have 3 items from the Mire area as well.
That is
or 5/6,
correct.
I should say.
For those just tuning in here at the 1 hour 15-minute mark, we are looking for the Cane of Samaria. And that is not it. That is the compass.
Yep, we have had a situation where Trinexx made a couple of errors, one of them being Darkroom Turtles didn't go as planned, and then Darkroom Aghanim, in order to get the fire rod off of Lumberjack Ledge, didn't go as planned, so that's why you see Trinexx right now sitting in Pendant Swamp, hoping for, well, we know the only thing we're missing is Cane of Samaria.
Yeah, and the thing with Trinexx was the beetles didn't help him. It was Helmasar that sealed the deal.
Yeah, but we have 4 spots left to check on Trinexx's side. There's a full heart, and there is our 4th bottle, because we've been very friendly with giving those out today.
Trinexx about ready to check this waterfall chest, and the waterfall has ourselves a blue rupee, and we are starting to really run out of locations. And what are we down to at this point? We haven't seen catfish, we haven't seen the green pendant, and there's still at least 1 outstanding item inside of Thieves Town. What else is there?
I mean, outside of the potential of us picking up powder in one of those locations and Magic Bat being our answer, I'm pretty sure you nailed everything that we have left on the head there.
Here we go, the fight against Argus.
Yep, and there is an item sitting here, so this is another option here. Since we only have about 5 or 6 options total, this is not one to be discounted quite yet.
This is a tough fight when you have the Master Sword. Trinexx trying to keep his health under management here with down to 3 hearts. And so we do know that Argus is going to drop the 6th and final item inside of this Swamp gets a couple fire rod shots. He did get a spin on him too. He finishes him up, and there is a piece of heart.
All
Now,
right, so we're looking at one item in Thieves, and one item on Green Pendant, and then one item at Catfish.
So for Trinexx, oh, he's pulling up the mirror already, but I'm hoping he's making his way to Pyramid Ferry. And then after that, I'm hoping he'll make his way over to Catfish.
Yeah, that is a super orphan location for both of our runners, as they both did handle the north portion of the dark world separately there. So both of them, Jet is really struggling with that fire rod.
Yeah, a little uncharacteristic here. In Trinexx, you have defeated Aghanim. Please remember, you have defeated Aghanim. Oh, he's gonna take the long way around, which is perfectly fine. It's just unfortunate, but we are gonna maybe see a bomb dupe here as the countdown goes 3, 2, 1. Does he have it? He's gonna double back over the right hand side. 0, and yes, he does get the bomb dupe.
Yep, we didn't get to see the quickest route, but we did get to see some cool tech, so it all works out. As Jet did grab their second item out of Myers, you can check that off the list.
And now he's heading into Swamp Palace. 6 items inside. Next
Not
up,
a darn one useful.
Trinexx, it is time to check the Catfish.
So this is interesting. So if Catfish has what we need, or the back of Thieves Town for that matter, and you pick it up, like if you're Trinexx, how are you feeling about that item location? Is that an item location of, oh, maybe I have a chance? Or is that an item location of, oh, well, yep, that's it. All right, it's time to pack this sucker in.
If it's in Thieves Town, you're packing it in. Like, you figured Jet full cleared this thing. He didn't first 4. That's going through your mind at this point. If it's on Catfish, you're thinking this is an out-of-the-way location. Maybe Jet does not have this yet. I might still have a chance. And so, here is the answer. Is it on Catfish? It is! There is Arcana Samaria. Catfish has it.
Alright, so there we go. So at this point, for go mode, Trinexx is going to need Ice Rod out of our Hookshot Cave, and Bombos, which he's going to grab momentarily here, out of Ice Palace.
So now, if you're a Jet, do you do Catfish next? Or do you do the remaining item in Thieves Town and the Green Pendant turn in?
So this is where things get interesting, because I'm pretty sure that both of those sets of locations for Jet at this point are locations that you leave behind with the intent of, if there's something here, then oh well, I lost. And having to choose between two of those locations is always interesting, because even though we're sitting at 2 checks on one and 1 check for the other, the Thieves Town check is going to be significantly longer, and that was really well done by Trinexx. Holy cow.
That was explosive. And I don't mean to say that as a pun. That was really, really good by Trinexx.
We should just name that room Pengator Peril, because holy moly, those suckers all went down. I don't think I've ever seen bomb strats in that room, and wow.
I've seen bomb strats in that room, but I've seen bomb strats in that room go wrong. That was bomb strats gone completely great.
So Jet is making the play to skip left side for now. It'll be interesting to see if Jet decides to come back in upon getting absolutely nothing from the back here.
The good thing here for Jet is if he does have to go back in, I think there was one item on the left-hand side. I'm trying to remember yet, because the map was in the roundabout there. So there is an item on the left-hand side. The good thing is that he's going to be able to get that one item, and then he can leave and not worry about the big chest because that had the compass in it.
That is a good point. That would save a little bit of worry, at least there, as we do get a heart and the 4th bottle on Jet's side.
And there is the bomb room that most runners don't have an issue with, because it's just lay the 2 bombs down and you're perfectly fine, as Jet will get ready to face off against this Argus fight. And I'm interested in seeing how well Jet can do with this upcoming fight, because we know that Jet has an execution advantage.
Honestly, I'm curious about where in the heck our other 2 swords are. The answer at this point almost definitely being GT, given that we've checked just about everything else, or Turtle Rock for that matter, but it would be nice to have another one here.
I know where they are.
And where's that, Rick?
Thieves Town and Mimic Cave.
Ugh, you're not picking nice locations. Why aren't you picking nice locations?
Because I've seen enough of these races to know how this goes.
That's a fair point. Yeah, Jet just using a silver there, deciding that Fire Rod and Spin Strat's not necessarily required here. We're just going to go ahead and knock out that silver arrow into the eyeball, and yeah, there's another pendant.
Yep, beautiful job there for Jet. That was a really, really good Argus fight. And now it is time for him to come back inside. And once again, this is to get to the left side of Swamp, as Trinexx will be getting his bombos real soon.
Yeah, and this seed.
Oh, nice spin there for Trinexx.
Yeah, that was nice. That's one of those awesome strats where you just, staircase rails are for chumps. I'm just gonna kind of pole vault over it.
So let me ask you this question, Hammer Bro. Your name is Jet. It's an hour 25 into this seed. You won game number 1 with a time of 1 hour 11 minutes. It's now 14 minutes beyond that time. How are you feeling about this seed, as you're looking for that one elusive item for Go Mode?
I mean, I can't speak for Jet's mental state, but if I were sitting in his shoes, I'd be thinking something along the lines of, well, that's what I get for having a sub 120 seed last time. Where in the heck is this stupid Cane of Samaria?
I'm probably thinking he's saying a few words that we cannot utter here on Speed Gaming 3.
I did my best to get the gist of it down without actually perhaps saying it verbatim, if you will. Oh no, I would definitely not be thinking that in my head, but that goes on a different channel. But no, at this point, if I'm Jet, I'm sitting here going, okay, so I've cleared every frigging thing in Hyrule except for these 2 locations here. That's not helpful. That's not what I needed. Okay, so I've got Catfish. I've got essentially two items in Thieves Town.
Okay.
And I don't really want to deal with any of them.
It's decision time. If we flute to 4, he's checking Catfish. If he flutes to 3, he's going back to Thieves Town. He's fluting to 3.
Alrighty, so we are literally going to see a last location, Cane of Samaria. Ugh.
Oh my goodness, he is fluting to 3.
Alright, so now, after we go ahead and get that last item out of Thieves Town and turn in the green pendant, then Jet's going to be thinking, what are the friggin' odds? Are you kidding me?
Now don't forget, Trinexx still has to flute to 5 and go back into the Palace of Darkness to finish what he started. But he is fluting to 1.
And honestly, this is not a bad play, just because we know it's going to get him Go Mode.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You flute to 5, you finish the Palace of Darkness. then you flute to 1. So that way you can do Tower of Hera, Turtle Rock, and then Ganon's Tower in the same push. Now you're going to have to climb back up the mountain another time.
Honestly, I'm thinking that Trinexx may have forgotten that Pod
I hope he
wasn't
has.
done.
I hope he hasn't.
I mean, it's not going to be the end of the world at this point, because what's going to happen is, you know, you're going to go ahead and clear Hera, clear Turtle Rock, and then walk right over there and be like, oh, wait, never mind. So at this point, the time has already been spent. Like, regardless of what's going on inside of Trinexx's head, the time has been spent. We've already climbed up the mountain. We're already going to have to do it again. There's nothing we can gain at this point, even if Trinexx grabbed the Go Mode Ice Rod, checked the medallion for Turtle Rock, which, keep in mind, I don't think Trinexx knows, because Trinexx has not been up here with the
He doesn't know, but again, it's just the whole idea that all you had to do is the Helmsar King, and you know he's going to be dropping a compass at this point. Like, this would have been a perfect opportunity for Trinexx just to get everything all clumped up together, and this really is going to be a case where it's going to give Jet a little more time to get that cane of Samaria once he is done with this Thieves Town. And there's Trinexx picking up the Ice Rod, so at 1 hour, 28 minutes, and 57 seconds, Trinexx, the first of these two runners into
Go Mode. Meanwhile, Jet is going to be checking just a couple more locations, and then go to Sahasrara, and then finally go to Catfish, and probably be rolling his eyes the entire way.
Of course Blind has the item.
I mean, at this point, it doesn't matter. We'd be clearing Blind regardless.
Well,
But
yeah,
it's
but
just,
still.
It's just stringing you along farther.
It's just taking you along for the ride. This is now a 2-item blind.
Alright, so are we going to see Powder Huron Blind or Powder for the Green Pendant?
This game is a jerk if it gives them the powder at Sahasrara or blind at this point, because that will take Jet further away from Catfish. Now, getting powder here might actually be worse, because you're just around the corner, you're going to check it.
Yeah,
Beautiful
that is
blind
a fair
fight.
point. Yeah, that blind fight was awesome.
Piece of heart, and there we have the tempered sword in Turtle Rock.
Not quite Mimic Cade, but you had the general area correct.
Well,
Meanwhile, we did not have a sword sitting in...
I was going to say that.
Although we could have it behind the green pendant.
Ooh, Trinexx made the cardinal error of swinging at one of those jellies. Got electrocuted, off the thing, and back to the start of the room.
I mean, it makes sense, though. This is Friday.
So here we go. Green pendant, turn in time for Jet.
I mean, there's nothing we can even get hyped for. What could it be? A sword? Like, that is literally it. We found everything else. Sword or powder.
50 rupees. Jet is not impressed. Flute to 3. Uh-oh. Were
there
there
something
checks
else
that Jet did not do? Oh, he's maybe going to Catfish this way.
Honestly, I don't know if this would be faster than fluting to 4 and going up through the Aghanim portal.
Yeah, this is how he's going to Catfish.
It might be faster, honestly. I don't know. It seems like it'd be pretty close, and there's less to dodge because it's just a straight shot, so it might actually be faster.
Somebody quickly pull up a side-by-side timer analysis. We could go ahead and figure that one out. But I'm not the person to do it because I'd be bonking into everything.
Yep, I know your problems there, bud. Me too. Anyways, Trinexx is making fairly quick work of his own dungeon here.
Oh, that's a
as
cute
we
pokey.
see That is hilarious.
Here's Jet getting the cane of Samaria, so 1 hour 32 and 28 seconds. Jet will as well now be in go mode. Both runners in go mode, time to head up to the mountain. Now, don't forget, Jet just has to do Turtle Rock. Trinexx has to finish Pod, has to go into the Tower of Hera, then do Ganon's Tower. Now, one unique thing out of this is that Trinexx is going to be able to do Hera back to back with Ganon's Tower, but it's one of those cases where I think it's a little too late here for Trinexx. Jet's got this now.
Yeah, especially because, as you had mentioned before, we're going to get a trip down to Pod afterwards.
That is, of course, if Trinexx can remember that he hasn't. My now bigger concern for Trinexx is that he's going to go and do Hera Mirror and then be like, why isn't this opening? Check the menu. Oh.
Yeah, that might be something that happens. I really hope it doesn't. We're also kind of in a unique situation where both of our runners are feeling terrible about this race for very, very different reasons.
Yeah,
Jet for his routing and Trinexx for his execution.
Jet definitely because he's 100% this seed. If Trinexx didn't have the death that he took to the Homicide King, this could have been a different race at this point. This could have probably have been a much tighter race that, you know, even Trinexx could have had the lead at this point, but unfortunately Trinexx died to Helmsar. We now know he's going to have to go back down the mountain. He's still going to finish the Tower of Hera, so this is unfortunate here for Trinexx, as Jet's looking pretty good to make it into the round of 16, and he will be facing off against Wayne if he's able to hold on, as Trinexx is just taking the long way around. Did he not activate the switch?
No, I think he did. I just think he somehow got turned around and is continuing to get turned around. Because Trinexx made the stop at the refill area there, refilled the magic and got 2 hearts, and then just kind of went off on a tangent there.
And don't forget, this also includes Jet doing a Dark Aga play to get to that Fire Rod, which definitely helped him out in that Beetle Room, as we see Trinexx setting up the safety door.
Yeah, with half a heart and lasers in front of you, I'd be setting up a safety door too.
So Trinexx getting the key, but he's down to 1/2 of a heart. Come on, Trinexx, you can do this.
Yeah, and for
why didn't we pick up that heart? Well,
probably because even with Blue Mail,
why didn't we pick up that heart? Holy cow! Let's go, Trinexx. Let's do this half a heart, the Trinexx fight.
I think the Turtle Rock boss here does.
Oh, we're going fast.
Of damage.
We're doing fast attempt here too. We're not gonna get him on 1 cycle, but we gotta give Trinexx a lot of credit for this. No, swung and missed on the redhead.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Kind of got out of hand here because he needed one more swing at the fire head. And probably didn't intend to do that, but yeah, that was not going to be an easy fight regardless of how it started. Yeah, so for those of you who are just joining us, this was basically a situation where we had the fire rod sitting on the lumberjack ledge, and Jet, seeing that, decided to do an early Dark Aga, which allowed him to grab that fire rod, which came in instrumentally in the turtle room in Pod, as Jet was able to get through that room relatively easily, and Trinexx ended up dying to Helmasaur, in part because of the hits taken in that room. Right after that death, Trinexx went over to attempt a Dark Aga himself, and ended up kind of getting stuck in that maze room and mirroring out. So it has just been a conglomerate of small issues that have not been helpful. Meanwhile, on the other side, Jet has literally 100%ed this seed, finding the Cane of Samaria in a very, very, very orphaned catfish location.
You know, the interesting thing is, and I've got a theory about this, and we'll ask Trinexx if he comes in for an interview after this race. You know, every now and then he likes to come into chat boasting when somebody dies to Trinexx, the enemy, about how he has won the fight. Maybe, but I don't think that's going to be the case here, as thankfully Trinexx does remember the fact that he does need to finish off this dungeon. I'm glad he did.
Yeah, that would have been honestly a heartbreaking end to this seed, to just watch Trinexx stay there in front of Ganon's tower and just stand there and stare in mute horror for a moment before realizing that you're one crystal short of a sealed break.
All right, Jet going here into the laser bridge. Pretty well on his hearts. Checks chest number 1. That is a map. Chest number 2 is a piece of heart. Chest number 3. Well, there's the key. He checked them out of order. Fine, be that way.
And now we get to sit here and wonder for the rest of our days. Come on, man.
I'm not going to sit here and wonder. We've got a guessing game we're going to be doing in a few moments that will supersede anything that we're worried about, but we're not going to go ahead and get you guys guessing numbers in chat. Please wait for us to activate the bot first, and please wait for Jet to finish off against Trinexx as well.
I would like to call a false start on Gold Snake. That is a 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
No.
Oh,
Trinexx
why not?
versus Jet. Head 1 is down. Head 2 is down. And the body is down and Jet is done here with Turtle Rock. And with 7 crystals, he is now making his way into Ganon's tower. It's time to play a game! Hammer bro?
I'm gonna go ahead and say 17.
Why are we guessing numbers?
Are we not supposed to guess numbers? I mean, I can guess the location.
Well, we can guess.
So basically how this works
Thank
is you
you.
have 22 locations. For the potential big key here for Ganon's Tower, it has to be 1 in those 22, so get your guesses in chat. Anywhere between 1 and 22. We do not do fractions, we do not do numbers over 22, we do not do zeros or negatives, decimals, or fractions. Get your guesses in chat. Do you want to tell them what they will win if they are correct?
Points on the leaderboard.
Well, there you go. Points on the leaderboard.
So what's your number?
My number, I'm going to go ahead and say 17. How about you?
Just because what you said earlier, 22.16.
You can't have a sixth of a chest.
No comment. No comment.
All right, so with the burrito sitting there on the torch, we do have a fun little sprite that is going to remain alive should he actually be seen. That sprite is traditionally an anti-fairy, but for our instances, we enjoy calling him Bob.
Chest number 2 is going to be a small key. Chest number 3 is a small key. Number 4, there's our butter. Number 5, let's have some bombs as we pull the Dark Magician strap for Jet as he's going to head on over towards the right-hand side. And we have 49 points up for grabs for the person who will win today's guessing game. Number 6 is a small key, and it's all full of hope there. Chest number 7!
Wow, that could have been, that was, whew. If he had gone Hope Room first, that would have been a God GT. But yeah, we will take it at 7.
Ladies and gentlemen, Wildfire is our big winner of the 49 points.
Yep, amusingly enough, Gold Snake, you were correct, but you were early. So sorry, that false start penalty did come back to bite you. Try again next time, please.
I ended up getting 5 points, so shout outs to him, Scribbler, Shinobi, Song Leaves, Dragonfire, a beaver, and a bee soup. That might sting a little. Buddy Cart and Crediar. Shout outs to all you runners.
For once in my life, I have no idea what to say to that. That's not very common, so yeah, take advantage of that while it's here.
Trinexx is on side of the Tower of Para, and let's be honest, this is still a close race. It's kind of a case where it's not really as close as we would have otherwise wanted. And here's a different setup. I've not seen this setup before for the Harappa.
Well, it worked.
Yeah, that was an interesting setup. There's so many different setups for this too, which is interesting. So Trinexx in his entry into GT is probably like maybe 3 minutes behind Jet. And if he goes Hope first, that'll put him even closer. Again, it's a case where Jet's got a commanding lead at this point. It's his race to lose. But it's a case where you have to wonder, what would this race have been had Trinexx died, had Trinexx not died, rather, to Helmsar King about an hour ago.
Yeah, that is a huge situation, especially because that death right there may very well have been what pushed Trinexx into trying that Dark Aga.
And there was the kill for the Moldorm, and Trinexx is heading into GT at this point as Jet is climbing up to the 5th floor.
And I don't think it's fully fair to give the entirety of that death, to give that credit to Helmsar King, because let's be honest, the Turtle Room did most of the damage.
Yeah, well, the death was to the Helmsar King. The Beetles did not help. It's just the Helmsar King finished the deal, and Trinexx is going Hope first. So he's going to get his key, then he's going to get his big key, and now he will climb up the tower. And he's probably wondering, how is Jet not done with his seed?
Yeah, at this point, if you're sparing any thought at this exact moment to anything other than, I just need to finish as soon as I can because I might still be in this somehow, and he's probably sitting there going, I'll bet that catfish was a last location for Jet. As Jet nearly got troll dormed, that was close.
Close, but he gets through it, and now Jet will go off against the Aga 2 fight.
Yep, that is our favorite mathematics course. We have agonometry before you. Your test will start in approximately 12 seconds. No cheating. Please keep your calculators in your book bag. Thank you.
I don't have a book bag.
You know, I get a feeling you enjoy being contrary, Mr. 22.16.
Correct.
Oh, speaking of contrary, how about a triple? That was nice.
Yeah, that's a really good triple there for Jet. Oh, could have gotten the triple there, but it didn't really matter. He only needed 2. A 1-3-2 fight against Aga 2 for Jet082, and now he's going to face off against Ganon. 5 hearts, gold sword, silver arrows. I used to have a TI-83.
Trinexx is playing Ring Around the Beamos there for a second. Did finally get that Zazax down.
All right, here we go.
Alrighty, and with Gold Sword, we are looking at 6 slashes for Phase 1, which have just been completed. 6 slashes for Phase 2, which are about to be completed.
Yep, there's the 6
and
slash
then
right there.
4 slashes. Yep, 4 slashes for what we like to lovingly call our temper tantrum phase, where we go ahead and make sure that, yeah, just like any good boss fight, you can fall off the edges. And then with silvers, we're going to be looking at 4 arrows to the face of the piggy, and a bridge to cross afterwards.
Does it have to be the face though? Because I see it seems like it works pretty well when you hit him on the side as well. As Jet at this point is wondering if Ganon is going to ever stop his warping.
Yep, fun fact. One nice little thing they did for the randomizer is that these are seeded for the first fight. So Trinexx is going to get every single stinking warp that Jet is having to live through.
You know, this makes up for the 0 blue ball Aghanim, by the way. So, oh no, Silver's my one true weakness. There's Silver Arrow number 1. Get him over here. This could be a double or triple. Triple! As Jet will win this race, and he's going to move on to face off against Blaine in the round of 16. Get your GGs in the chat, as Jet will win this match.
So I do have to say, I think Jet has a weakness for triples between Aga 2 and Ganon. Holy moly. Alright, and the Triforce entreating Jet to pick us up before we get dizzy. Jet did finish in first place with an SRL time of 1 hour, 47 minutes, and 58 seconds. Holy cow, that was not fun.
Hey there, Jet. How are you doing today?
Hey, GG. So that's how knots are out the seed.
That's how you 100%
Well,
the seed,
yeah.
by the way.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you want to do 100%, that's exactly maybe how you route 100. Although, I was watching the restream for the last 20 minutes, and I didn't even think about skipping the last chest in Laser Bridge, and that was an item. I still had a chest. Like, Trinexx didn't finish yet. I still need to go fast, just in case something goofy happened with him, and I still have a chance. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, as
The
you know
denial.
by now, he took the debt to the Helmassar King at the end of the Palace of Darkness in his first trip in. And that really was a lot of the difference between you two right there, because he had to make the walk back eventually. He had a few issues going into Aga's tower in the dark. And by the way, talk to us about your dark Aga tower. How are you feeling about it?
Pretty good. I prefer to usually have. I mean, obviously, if you had fire rod in there, there's a couple of lamps, so it's not too bad.
You ain't getting
just
that fire rod
anything-
in that Aga tower, though.
Right.
Seed.
Anything that can help you find your way. But I'm pretty confident enough with the Dark Agate climb that I'm okay doing. The hardest room is really that giant pit room. And just knowing where the wall is. Luckily, we had boomerang, and I have a decent idea of where the wall is when you boomerang. So that's why I used it to find where the wall is. That's really the hardest part there. So yeah, I decided to do it early because of where Fire Rod was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I can pick it up, I can do Pod easier. Maybe Trinexx didn't even look at Lumberjack and knows that's where Fire Rod is. Maybe Lamp is in a really goofy location, and this can be my fire source to do things like checking desert and things like that. So I really wanted to get the Fire Rod and hoped it brought me more things. But unfortunately, it didn't really lead to anything. I was just able to do Pod a little easier, I think.
And really, as far as the Palace of Darkness was concerned, it was only for one part of the Beetle Room. You crushed that Beetle Room.
Yeah, that one's fun. When it goes right, it feels pretty good. I mean, I found out I didn't even have to light the torch because I was able to get all bottom 4 with my spin. So, man, that would have been nice if I just didn't even use it. But it's fine.
Yeah, it was still a very solid effort right there, and obviously the Cane of Samaria was the big. Where the
Do we have to
blank
talk
is
about
that?
that? I don't want to talk about that. No. So, one of my viewers, and he's also a commentator, Tiru, was talking about how apparently Catfish seems to have a lot of progression in this tournament. I'm like, so it's in the back of my head already. And there were a couple times where it's like, I should just go over and do Catfish. Like, as soon as I killed Aga, I was thinking I should go over. I could check
Hold
Mushroom
on.
on. What?
Hold on just a second there. Let's get your GGs in the chat for Trinexx, who just finished off against the Ganon fight. Is about to walk across the bridge to finish off this seed. Yeah, you can go ahead, Jet. Sorry about that.
So yeah, all I was gonna say is after Aga, I could have went to Catfish. I decided to put it off, and then when I went to do the Pyramid Fairy, I'm like, I should just quickly run up and go check it, and I still did. I'm like, no, it's It's just one location. I don't want to go out of my way for one location. felt so bad when I'm clearing swamp, checking in mire, double dipping thieves, and there is no cane.
Oh gosh, and you know, this was a case where we were wondering what you're going to do heading out of Swamp Palace. What we actually thought you were going to do was do Swamp before you went into the Misery Mire, because we thought the weight of 6 was going to outweigh the weight of the 2 that had Misery Mire, but you actually made the same routing decision that Trinexx did in that regards. As we do welcome in Trinexx to the conversation. GG's on your 151.56. Your thoughts?
Thank you very much. I want to first say good game to Jet. That was
good game,
the
Trinexx.
seed. No, the seed was fine. So you came in saying that's not how you route the seed. I wanted to say that's not how, for my case, it's not how you play the seed.
Yeah, we were meant. I think Hammerbro was actually making that mention early on. It's just unfortunate what ended up happening to you at the Helmisar King, but you were already in a rough spot due to your health going into that fight, down to 1 heart going in.
Yeah, I was actually feeling okay about the Helmisar fight, but just once phase 2 started, I just kind of got charged at, and it all went downhill from there. But yeah, so obviously with that happening, I was feeling 100% behind, and so it wasn't my intention to do Dark Aga at first, but then after that, it's like, well, I need to hope that Lamp is nowhere, and then make that play.
Yeah,
I go in, I fail, I run around the dark for a while, and I think that it was the first check in Village of Outcast. Right after doing that, the Lamp showed up.
And what was your thoughts when you got that?
I laughed out loud for 3 minutes to myself.
Oh gosh, I definitely give you props for trying to do the Dark Aga maze there. I saw you pull up the map at some point there just to try to figure out where you were in that room, which is a technique I didn't even think of. So I'll give you props for that.
Yeah, I mean, it works sometimes in the Dark Maze and Pod, but for this one, it's not something I'm used to doing that often, which is, of course, a reasonable thing. But
just, what did you do?
I was trying to do the Dark Maze and Aga, and I pulled up the actual map to get an approximate idea as to where it was.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so at least your little square shows you at least about where in the Super Tile you were. So
yeah, where exactly in the room you are. Well, where approximately in the room you are, like if you're in the north side, if you're on the south side of the room.
Yeah, I think in hindsight I knew where I was stuck, but I just wasn't expecting to be there. So
well, if you were stuck in that maze, I mean, it's just it's different than the Pod Dark Maze. For some reason, the pathways seemed a little bit smaller. So I've noticed when I do the Dark Aga maze, I have to go slower just to make sure I don't miss a turn. And I've done it before. I'm just like holding a direction and I expect to go, down a certain pathway, and I don't. I'm like, why did I not go this way? Where the heck am I now? So it's weird. I don't know why, but it works differently.
Yeah, it's not something I ever intended to do because I just don't do that often. But just with one major mistake under my belt, I just kind of kept having to pile on. So it's like at a certain point, I got the lamp, did the front of Thieves Town, did some more stuff there. Went to go to Bumper Cave, and then I ended up getting sniped by a spear. And that killed me.
Yeah. That was unfortunate, too, because you had to double back to get to the hook shot there. But, you take away both of those deaths, this could have been an interesting game 2 to lead into a potential game 3.
But with that death, I wanted to say that it led to my best decision in the game, is that once I went to Aga 1 first on the second time around, I stopped in the lobby, got up, got 2 beers, and I enjoyed the rest of the season.
Now, and that, my friends, is how Trinexx is still smiling.
And I will ask both of you, how good did it feel to go up against an Aga 1 that you knew you had to defeat, and it became a perfect 0 blue ball?
That was polite.
Yeah,
he had to do it, but at least Aga was nice about it.
I didn't actually even realize until after the fight how fast it went. I just wasn't counting because I had stopped caring at that point. So
now I see somebody in chat, and this is why I'm gonna go to you now, Jet. You get to face Blaine in the next round, in the round of 16. Anything you want to say to Blaine since he's in chat now?
I think this is actually sort of hilarious. Because I faced, Trinexx, and now I'm facing Wayne, and we're all on the council. Unplanned, but here we go. So it'll be fun.
Some smack talk going on behind the scenes in the council.
I think this is the talk. There's just no smack talk. It just is.
I do want to go to Trinexx here, and unfortunately, with this loss, your time in the tournament does come to an end. But I definitely want to ask you, since you were one of the surviving members from the Challenge Cup alum from last tournament to make it into the main tournament and to make it into brackets, how did that make you feel in the growth of this game to go from being a Challenge Cup runner in the last tournament to making it in not just only the groups but to brackets in this tournament?
So, I mean, I don't want to make this to sound the wrong way, but one of the main reasons I was in the Challenge Cup to start with is that I could only do a single qualifier last year. I was doing a lot of traveling at the time, and I just really couldn't actually get to the point of making it. So I didn't never get a real fair shot the first time. But yeah, so I didn't even realize that was the case until I read the chat group before the game ended here. So, but I guess that's cool that showing some level of growth from going from that to this. That's cool. Hopefully next year, when the current Challenge Cup finishes up, we'll see much of the same.
Yeah, here's hoping that we can get that, and definitely shows to keep up with your skills. And it was a great run for you, Trinexx.
Yeah, I have more than achieved my goals. As I think I said this before in previous restreams, but my goal coming into this tournament was to get top half of qualifiers. I got that, and then just get out of group stages. That was done. I just so happened to win my first round in the brackets, and basically it's just been gravy from here. So I'm actually pretty happy with how it went down. Losing tonight, especially to a strong opponent like Jet, that's completely nothing to me. So, I mean, it's great, but I'm not feeling any ill will towards this.
Absolutely. So let's get a big GG here into chat for Trinexx, who will be leaving us in the tournament now, and Jet will be moving on to face off against Blaine. Trinexx, definitely been great talking to you about this race.
Well, thank you guys for commenting, and thanks again, Jet, for the game, and good luck going on against Blaine.
Yeah, thanks for the races.
So, any closing thoughts about this seed here, Jet? Anything that you felt like you probably could have done differently besides the catfish play?
Jet catfish? That's the only thing. And I'm still never gonna. Well, I'll do it eventually when it's required, but I don't know. I hate catfish.
You heard it, Catfish. Jet is throwing down.
You should have thrown a bomb into there after he gave you the cane of Samaria. Showed him who's boss. But with that, GG's to both of our runners here, Trinexx and Jet082. And if you loved what you saw in this race, be sure to give them a follow. Be sure to give them some love. They can definitely use the support as they continue on playing Link to the Past Randomizer. We've got more races coming up here in this tournament, including one that is just about to begin over on twitch.tv/speedgaming, as we have the round of 32 match between Mentos Man 8 and Doomtap. That's going to be game number 1 of that best of 3 series, and then we've got a lot of things coming up tomorrow. Isn't that right, Hammer Bro?
Yeah, you are absolutely correct. We have, it looks like, 5 games, all of which are confirmed to be restreamed right now for tomorrow, starting at 9:20 a.m. with a doubleheader by Weighty Words and Farame. And then we do have a single race between Mentos Man and Doomtap, which will be their game 2. We have a Christos Owen versus Yoshi, which is going to be a game 3, so check that one out. No?
Because of certain things that happened today, that is going to be a game 2. You want to watch game?
Oh, did not.
You want to watch today's race back? I guarantee you that it is now a game 2 between those two. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Oh, that's okay. Definitely going to have to watch that. Me and having work on Fridays, man, it's not fun. We also do have our last race right now for tomorrow is going to be starting at 4:20 Eastern PM. That's going to be Aussie 101 versus Yagamoth. So we do have a full slate for tomorrow and some more that are scheduled for Sunday. So if you haven't got enough rando yet, you have plenty of time.
Absolutely, with the exception of the 10:20 Mentos Man versus Doom Tap tomorrow, all will be on twitch.tv/Speed Gaming. That Mentos Man 8 versus Doom Tap will be on Speed Gaming 4. Also, other great things we got coming up here on the Speed Gaming family of networks. Don't forget, we got the Super Mario World tournament going on. The no Cape No Star World tournament. We got Kirby and the Amazing Mirror going on, Super Mario Sunshine Bingo. We've got, of course, the weekly races, Super Mario Maker 2 and the Minish Cap Randomizer. And starting real soon, in fact, next week, SMB3R, Super Mario Brothers 3 Randomizer starts up next week as well. So a lot of great things coming up on the Speed Gaming family of channels, so stay tuned for that. I am Adirondack Rick for Oro, who did the clicking of the buttons behind the scenes for the crew here at Speed Gaming. Thank you very much for joining us. Hammer Bro, take us on out of here, please.
Yeah, all I have to say is these runners did great. I hope if you play your personal randomizer seed, it ends up closer to their first seed than their second one. That's all I've got. Have a good night, everyone.